Today, we are on day 3 of the project to learn the names and locations of the 254 counties of Texas in 30 days, 1 month. Yesterday, on day 1, we learned the names of the counties that start with the letters A and B. There were 27 of those counties. Day 2, we practiced review on that. And then today we're going to move on to learning the 28 counties that start with the letter C. But first, let's get right into the game. I'm going to get into I go to clickandlearnsoftware.com, click the Play Now button, and it's going to come up with, this is what you get for free. This is what I am not logged in. I'm not signed in. I just went to clickandlearnsoftware.com and click Play Now. Up at the top, we have a thumbnail, an icon that says 30 days to learn Texas counties. When I click that, I get a series of games. And with this system, we're going to go through the process, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. And each day we will add a new game for that particular day, and we'll also take off a previous game so that we're only doing 2 or 3 days at a time. So on this game, I'm going to go right into review the previous day's lessons. I click the single player, and I click Go. It asks for Anderson County. We're doing this alphabetically, so I go through them, and I know we'll be able to do this without even looking at the question, because we know we've practiced with this enough that we can go right through this. It asks for Anderson, and I'm going to go through this without looking at the questions. And up at the top is the questions. As for Anderson Andrews, Angeline Aranzis, Archer Armstrong, Atascosa Austin, Austin, Texas, Austin County, Bailey Bandera, Baystrup, Baylor, B, Bell, Behar or Bear, Blanco, Borden, Bosque Bowie, Brazoria, Brazos County looks very similar to Austin, the same about shape, the same orientation, the same place on the screen. But as for Brazos, Brewster, Briscoe, Brooks, Brown, Burleson, Burnett. The reason this system works is because we use 6 of the 7 multiple intelligences simultaneously while we were learning the counties. I was 1 second over, so we will replay that. In order to beat the clock, you have to focus, concentrate on what you're doing, eliminate other distractions all around you, and we're going to go. It asks for Anderson Andrews, Angeline Aranzis, Archer Armstrong, Atascosa Austin, Bailey Bandera, Baystrup, Baylor, B, Bell, Behar, Blanco, Borden, Bosque Bowie, Brazoria, Brazos, Brooks, Brown, what's it ask for? Brewster, Briscoe, Brooks, Brown, Burleson, Burnett. And we beat the clock. So that's how we go through this. We can also, I'm going to exit, and I'm going to take you to another thing that you can do with all of these. I'm going to go back to that same game where we reviewed the first 27 counties. I'm going to click that button. But instead of going right into review, I'm going to switch to test mode. You can do this with all of these games. You can go to learn mode, review mode, test mode. I'm going to click single player, and it brings up the game in test mode. As you know, in test mode, it's going to be in random order. The buttons, you're not racing the clock. The show me button does not show up. The show me button does not help you. And the buttons do not disappear when you click the correct button, but you do get a green light if you get it right. Green light, Bandera, green light, I got it right, Atascosa, and so forth. Get green lights. If I get it wrong, let's say it asks for Briscoe and I click Bailey instead, I get a red light. It asks for Borden, so I'm not going to get 100% because I got that one wrong. Let's see how we go through this. It asks for Borden, Bear, Brazoria. We're not racing the clock. We have time to sit here and think. B. What I do? I click Bell instead of B. That's going to be wrong also. Bosk, Angelina, Armstrong, Addiscos, Archer, Armstrong. This would be Armstrong. Blanco, right above Bayar. Anderson, the first one alphabetically. Andrews, the second one alphabetically. Burleson right next to Brazos. Brewster, Bowie's easy. Brooks at the bottom. Aransas on the coast. Archer's right next to Baylor. Austin, right next to Waller County. Austin, Bell, Burnett. I think this is Burnett. Bailey, Brazos, Brown, Brooks, Brown. We've answered 26 so far. It asks for Bastrop, and it shows us, we got 92%. That's how you use test mode. You can use test mode. You can use review mode. You can use either one of these. I'm going to exit from that. I'm going to get right into today's lesson about learning the counties that start with the letter C. So I go right into learn mode. I click single player. And I tell you what, I'm going to move to a different table because it's getting crowded here and loud, and I don't know if you can hear the background noise, but I got a lot of talking around us here. So I'm going to move.
What are you doing? Are you part of the radio station?
I'm doing live streaming.
That's cool.
All right. Okay. I'll tell you about this in a minute. All right. Let's see if I'm still on here. Okay. So here I am in the rec center out on the front porch. This the beauty of what we're doing here is I can be live streaming from the park, from the model train layout area. A few weeks on Memorial Day, I did a live streaming from a cemetery area in the neighborhood. But with the technology that we have today, and just with a laptop, Wi-Fi connection. Okay, my phone is over there on the other table. I hope I still have looks like I still have the connection. Anyway, this is part of life. Okay, so I'm going to get right back into showing you how we go about. I go right up to where we were before. I'm going to click the little exit button on the top left. I'm going to go right into that game for the counties that start with the letter C. Click there. We're going to start off in learn mode. Click single player. Click go. There's 7 questions on the screen. You know how this system works. If you've watched any of our videos, you know that we do 7 questions at a time. It takes about 4 plays to master the first 7 questions, and then we go to 14 questions. It takes 4 more plays and 4 more as you go through. You can learn the countries of South America in 24 minutes with this system. You've already seen that if you've watched any of the videos. So let's get right into it. As for Caldwell, we haven't played this before. Supposedly, I've played this before, but to show you how it works, it asks for Caldwell at the top. When I click the correct button, I get a green light. The button disappears. We're racing the clock, and the question changes to Calhoun. It asks for Calhoun. I click Calhoun. I get a green light. If I click the wrong button, it asks for Callahan. I'm going to click. It says Carson. So even when we click the wrong button, we're still learning. So I know that is Carson at the top. Let's see what this is. Okay, that's Cass. We're looking for Callahan. I can use the show me button at any time. So that's Callahan, Cameron, Camp, Carson, and Cass. We were 19 seconds over, so we replay over and over until we can beat the clock. The trick to this system is, as you also know, is whisper as you click. Whisper as you click, because when you whisper, you're using 4 of the 5 senses. You say it, you hear it, you see it on the screen, and you touch it with a mouse. So let's go through that again. It asks for Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron, Camp, Carson, Cass. We beat the clock, but I'm not confident enough to go to the next level yet, where we have 14 questions, so we can replay that a few times. Click the replay button. Still has the same order. We should be able to do this without looking at the question. Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron, Camp, Carson, Cass, Camp, Carson, Cass. Okay, I would go through that a few more times if I was just learning. But now when I click the go button, we go to 14 questions. We still do Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron, Camp, Carson, Cass, and now we have 7 new questions to work with. Is this Castro? It asks for Castro. Is this Castro? No, that's Childress. Okay, that's Castro. The button disappears. Question changes to Chambers. Is this Chambers? This is Coke. This is Coke. This is Childress. And got an internet connection there. Internet interruption. It asks for Chambers. Chambers is on the coast. Chambers. Cherokee. No, that's Clay. I can use the show me button. Use the show me button. So that is Cherokee. Childress, Clay, Cochran, and Coke. 28 seconds over. Click the go button. Replay. We already know the first 7 really well. Caldwell, Calhoun, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron, Camp, Carson, Cass. And now we're going to Castro, Chambers, Cherokee, Childress. No, that's Clay. Childress. I can use the show me button. Okay, that's Childress. Clay, Cochran. No, that's Coke. This is Coke, so this must be Cochran. Coke and Cochran. We did not beat the clock, but we improved greatly over the first play when we were 28 seconds over. So we click the go button. It asks for Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron, Camp, Carson, Chambers, Cass, Castro, Chambers, Cherokee, Childress, Clay, Cochran, and Coke. Beat the clock. We would go to 21 questions. Let's do a replay. Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron, Camp, Carson, Cass, Castro, Chambers, Cherokee, Childress, Clay, Cochran, and Coke. Do that a few times until you're confident. And then we click the go button to go to the next level, which is 21 questions. We're still practicing Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron. We have more buttons in the way now, so we really have to know where Camp, Carson, Cass, Castro, Chambers are located. Cherokee, Childress, Clay, Cochran, Coke. And now we have 7 new questions. It asks for Coleman. We can use the show me button. Coleman. Collin. Actually lived in Collin County. That's where Plano, Texas is located, just north of Dallas. So I know that Collin County is up here. Collinsworth. Okay, this is Comanche. Okay, we'll have to know that in a minute. That's Comanche. This is Concho. It asks for Collinsworth. Let's use the show me button. That's Collinsworth. Colorado, Kamal, Comanche, Concho. We did not beat the clock, so we replay. I'm going to show you something really cool in a second, but let's go in to replay that, all 21 of those questions. It asks for Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron, Camp, Carson, Camp Carson, Camp Carson, Castro, Chambers, Cherokee, Childress, Clay, Concho, Coke. And the next 7 is Coleman, where Plano, Texas is, Collinsworth, Colorado, Comal. Click the wrong button. Okay, that's Concho. That's Comanche. This is Concho, Comanche, and Concho. 3 seconds over. Okay, one more time, and then I'm going to show you something really neat. Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron, Camp Carson, Castro, Camp Carson, Castro, Chambers, Cherokee, Childress, Clay, Cochran, Coleman, Collinsworth, Colorado, Comal, Comanche, Concho. We beat the clock, so we could go to the next level, which is 28 questions, or I'm going to show you something neat. This button over here on the right-hand side helps you start that game over and replay wherever you're at. But this button, this is our circle back 7 button. With this button, instead of having to start it, let's say I'm up to Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon with the 50 states, and I want to go to the next level, but I have a hard time with those next 7 questions. Instead of having to go through 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, and 42, I can use the circle back 7, and what that does, that directs me to the last 7 questions that I'm now learning. Okay. So that's what the circle back 7 button does. It asks for Coleman, Collinsworth, Colorado, Comal, Comanche, Concho. Circle back 7. Coleman, Collinsworth, Colorado, Comal, Comanche, Concho. Circle back 7. Coleman, Collinsworth, Colorado, Comal, Comanche, Concho. So that's what that is for. But I'm going to click the go button. We're going to go right into all 28 questions. We already know that we can get through Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron, Camp Carson, Carson, Castro, Chambers, Cherokee, Childress, Clay, Cochran, Coleman. There's the other thing. You have to have the finger right on the button you want to click. This is the button I wanted to click, but I had it off to the side, and I didn't understand what I was trying to click. That's why we got that one red. And that's for Coleman, Collinsworth, Colorado, Comal, Comanche, Concho. Now we get into 7 new ones. Cook with 2 O's instead of Coke with 1. This was Coke. This was Coleman. This was This was Castro. This was Caldwell. This was Calhoun. This was Callahan, Cameron, Castro, Chambers, Cherokee, Childress, and so forth. Okay, but now it's asking for a Cook. If we get it right, we get a green button. The question changes to Coryell. If I get the wrong button, it says, sorry, this is Crosby. Okay, this is Cottle. Coryell, I can use the show me button, Cottle. Okay, well, that was not Cottle, whatever it's asking for. Now it's asking for Cottle, Crane, Crockett, Crosby, and Culberson. Okay, 58 seconds over. Review. This is a cramming session. So as you know, once we learn with this learn method, as I showed you a few minutes ago, you can go right into review mode. and go through these all at once, like I showed you with the counties that start with the letters A and B. So it asks for Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron, Camp, Carson, Cass, Castro, Chambers, Cherokee, Childress, Clay, Cochran, Koch, Coleman, Collinsworth, Colorado, Kamal, Comanche, Concho, Cook, Coriel, Cottle, Craig, Crosby, Craig, Crockett, and Crosby, and Culberson. Okay. Also, these are in alphabetical order. Here's the other thing. At this point, I could go through the last 7 there. Let's just do that one more time. That's for Cook, Coriel, Cottle. I'm looking at the question at the top. Crane, Crockett, Crosby, Culberson. Let's do a circle back 7 again. Cook, Coriel, Cottle, Crane, Crockett, Crosby, Culberson. Okay. So, or we can replay the whole game, or I can go to go, which is the next mode, and that's when the questions are in random order. And this really helps to remember what you clicked. You can do, you get to where the pattern, you know the pattern. I'm going to click the go button. It asks for Chambers. Where is Chambers County? We played this enough that we should know where all of these are. Cameron is at the bottom. Crosby, Comanche, Cass, Carson, Cochran. And it does get more complicated when you've got more and more buttons on the screen, because then you say, is this Castro or is one of these other ones Castro? Click Castro, Collinsworth. This is Childress. This is Collinsworth. This is Cottle. Okay. So we are doing it in random order. If I click this one, it'll say, sorry, that's Cottle. Okay. We can still use the show me button. Collinsworth. Okay. Coke. It's random order. Coke. Coriel right above Bell. Crockett, very famous. Calhoun on the coast. Coleman. Camp. Cottle. Culberson. Colorado. Concho. Kamal. Callahan. Clay. Crane. Cherokee. Childress. Caldwell. Cook, and Collin. We did not beat the clock, so we're going to do this over in random order, but we're going to do it quickly. Okay. It asked for Comanche. Collinsworth. Caldwell. No, that's Calhoun. Caldwell. Cottle. Culberson. Calhoun. Coleman, not right next to Coke. Colorado. Callahan. Crosby. Where's Crosby? Cass. Coke. Crane. Carson. Kamal. Chambers. Crockett. Cook with 2 O's. Cook. Clay. Camp. Coriel right next to Bell. Cameron at the bottom. Concho. Cherokee. Collin where Plano County is. Cochran. Childress, and Castro. We beat the clock. Okay. We can still replay, but we beat the clock. And I would do that over and over until I can beat the clock. And now we're going to the next level. The next level, as you know, is the test mode. When I click go, now we're in test mode. We're not racing the clock. The show me button does not appear. The questions are in random order. And because they're in random order, we're not even timing you in the test mode. Also, the buttons do not disappear. When I get it correct, I get a green light, but the button does not disappear. So when we get to the last one, it says, where's Cameron? We click that button not because it's the only button in that part of the screen, because we know that's Cameron. So that's for Coriel. Coriel is right above Bell. Coriel. Cass. Cook with 2 O's. Colin, where Plano, Texas was. Plano, Texas is. Cameron at the bottom. Test mode, we're not racing the clock. Calhoun on the coast. Crosby, this was Carson. This is Crosby. Colorado. Concho. Cherokee. Caldwell was the first one alphabetically for the C's. Caldwell. Childress right above, right below Collinsworth. This is Childress. Carson. Cochran. Crane. Kamal. Where is Kamal? Is Colorado. This is Caldwell. This is Kamal. Chambers. Callahan is this one. Camp is a little bitty county in this. To me, it looks like the shape of a tent, a little tent. So I camp in a tent. Some of the little clues that I use for myself. Comanche, Cottle, Coleman, a Crockett is a big one. Coke with 1 O. Castro, this is Castro. Learning alphabetically helps me when I'm thinking about this. And that's for Collinsworth. This is Colin. This is Collinsworth. This is Cottle. This is Childress. All of these things help you. This is Collinsworth. Culberson. And I got 100%. That's the entire goal of this system. Now, once you've done that, you can play again if you wanted to practice. But once you've done that, what I do is I go over here to the resources for Texas. I scroll down to this list of counties. I print that, and I take that list with me. And if I'm working on learning the C's, wherever I am, if I am just watching people at bowling, if I am, let's say I'm watching TV. I don't watch TV. I don't even have a TV, but let's say I was watching TV. I do go to a sports bar to watch sports. You know, everybody should watch the World Series and things like that. But I take this list with me wherever I am. And I go through this and see if I can do it in 28 counties in 28 seconds. Let's see what we can do. Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron, Camp, Carson, Castro, Chambers, Cherokee, Childress, Collinsworth, Concho, Cook, Coriel, and then Collinsworth, Colorado, Kamal, Comanche, Concho, Cook, Coriel, Cottle, Crane, Crockett, Crosby, Culberson. Okay. And that's what I practice with. And at night, sometimes I take the laptop and I go play this. But at night, I have this list. I can go through that list over and over as I'm going to sleep. And sometimes sometimes I wake up thinking about those counties. And just by going to sleep working on it, it helps you learn. But you can print that. We give that away for free. I'm going to close that window. Again, that was over here. Click the resource for Texas. Print the black map for pretest and so forth if you're a teacher if you want to. I'm going to close that window. And now I'm going to go back into that same game we used to learn, but I'm going to switch to review mode. And I don't have to go through 7, 14, 21, 28, and then do it in random order and then do it in test mode. I can go right to review mode. Click go. It's going to be in the same alphabetical order, so you don't even have to look at the question. In fact, you should get to the point where you don't need to look at the question. Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron. I'm thinking ahead. What's coming next? Castro, Camp, Carson, Castro, Chambers, Cherokee, Childress. Where am I at? Castro's up here. Castro, Chambers, Cherokee, Childress, Clay, Cochran, Camp, Koch, Coleman, Collinsworth, Colorado, Kamal, Comanche, Concho, Cook, Coriol, Cottle, Crane, Crockett, Crosby, Culberson, Crane, Crockett, Crosby, Culberson. And I would do that over and over until I'm confident and I feel comfortable, because what we're doing is, I'm going to click exit. What we're doing is we're building on the whole process. We're building on going from counties start with A and B and C. And then as you get farther down the road and you're going to sleep at night, you start with a whole list instead of just going to C's or D's. Dallas, Dawson, Deaf Smith, Delta, Denton, DeWitt, Dickens, Dimmitt, Donnelly, Duvall. You start with the first one, Allen, Anderson, Andrews, Angelina Rancis, and you picture in your mind where these were, where the shape is, what color they were, because all those things help you. Anderson, Andrews, Angelina Rancis, Archer Armstrong, Gaddiscos Austin, Bailey, Bandera, Bastrop, Baylor, B. Bell, Behar, Blanco, Borden, Bosk, Bowie, Missouri, Brazos, Brewster, Briscoe, Brooks, Brown, Burles and Burnett, Caldwell, Calhoun, Callahan, Cameron, Camp, Carson, Castro, Chambers, Cherokee, Childress, and the pattern that you do with your mouse. Cook, Cochran, Cook, Coriol, Collinsworth, Colorado, Kamal, Comanche, Concho, Cook with 2 O's, Cook, Coriol, Cottle, Crane, Crockett, Crosby, Culberson. That's what you practice with. And after 30 days with this system, you will be able to do something that very few people, even in Texas, cannot do. And I would bet that most geography teachers or even Texas history teachers cannot do this, but they could. If I'm a geography teacher or a Texas history teacher, I am going to learn the names and locations of the counties of Texas so I can recite the counties in 254 seconds with a timer, stopwatch. And I'm going to encourage my students, even if that is not a requirement in the standards, I know that my students can do this. In fact, I'll make a challenge to them. I'll tell them, and this is one thing I'm working on. I really believe that the Texas governor should make the 254th day of the year a state, maybe not a holiday, but a day in the schools around Texas to celebrate Texas. And in each school, they have a play or a contest or songs about their county, the hero that county was named after, or the Indian nation such as Cherokee, Choctaw, and then any of my students who could recite the names of the 254 counties and score 100% on one of the click and learn tests that would give you online test, they would get a Celebrate Texas pin, something that shows they are extremely knowledgeable about Texas. Anyway, that is if I was a teacher, I'm just saying, I would love, if I had my life start over, I'd be a geography teacher. And I'd probably try and get a job in Texas, because think of what you can teach your kids. And when you teach your kids geography of the world, and they meet someone from some other country, they can have a polite conversation with that person. I meet people from around the world, doctors. One of my doctors from India. The last bicyclist that I staying at the house is from Holland. I know where the Netherlands are located. We could talk about that. What's the story about Holland and the Netherlands, and about that little Dutch boy with his finger in the dike? We talk about those things, and you have a conversation. And the other thing is, when you know the countries of the world, well, I tell you what, I won't go into that. We're working on Texas counties. So if you check with us tomorrow, and we're going to set this up. I got some guys that know how to do this, and they're going to set me up with a schedule so that every day at a certain time, we do a live stream. And all of the people that want to learn counties of Texas can follow us through day by day for 30 days as we learn the counties. And then I'll start over, maybe to refresh, maybe for new group of people that want to learn. But for now, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. I believe geography knowledge is really important. So we will see you tomorrow. Get in and play. It's free. Get in and play. You go to clickonOurSoftware.com. You click that button. It says 30 days to learn the counties of Texas. You play the game, review, go to sleep at night with a list. Okay. You know what we're talking about. We'll talk to you later. Thank you.